All right, thank you, Rex. Good morning, everyone. Uh, First of all, let me begin by thanking the Valparaiso Economic Development Corporation and the Greater Valparaiso Chamber of Commerce for hosting this event this morning to allow me and my team to share what we consider to be a very exciting project for the city. Uh, and every day in Valparaiso, we are looking to enhance and add to the bucket that we call quality of life. And a big part of the reason we can do that and are able to do that is because of every one of you in this room, and I thank you for that. We believe that Valparaiso is special. Collectively, as a city, we are committed to going beyond providing just the mundane yet essential city services. Our city is committed to creating a vibrant community, an extraordinary quality of life, a place that people want to live and do business. Parks are the cornerstone of that vibrancy, a big part of what makes Valparaiso special. Parks gather us together, encourage wellness, promote family engagement, and celebrate the outdoors. As a city, Valparaiso has long embraced its parks. That's why we're so excited today to share with you plans for the Valpo Sports and Recreation Campus. Just east of 49, the new park will transform 248 acres into a true destination for all ages. This new park fits perfectly into the city's strategic plan, accomplishing many goals for quality of life, as I mentioned, recreation, economic development, and community engagement. The campus will offer the city opportunities to gather together, to engage all ages, to partner with local schools, with Valparaiso University, local businesses, and community organizations, to host events, to host tournaments, and more. Like our neighborhood parks, like Valparaiso, like Central Park Plaza, this will be a place of community pride, a place that we celebrate, and a place to connect with others. We're very excited about how this project, this new campus, supports both, as I mentioned, the city's strategic plan and the park's master plan, expanding the park's network and offerings for all ages and all abilities. Each time I walk the property, I am blown away with the opportunities we have out there. So the nuts and bolts. The Valpo Sports and Recreation Campus is a $30 million project, but one we look to accomplish without the need to raise taxes or touch a penny of the city's rainy day cash reserves. With our newly affirmed AA bond rating, which is based on strong financial oversight and performance, we're in a financial position to do this. Our feasibility study for the Sports and Recreation Campus forecasts a positive economic impact of $10 million in direct spending and $20 million in indirect spending. These numbers represent solid benefits for the project and a positive for local businesses, all in addition to the quality of life benefits. The Valpo Sports and Recreation Campus is a long-term project, one that will extend beyond any one mayor or city council. And with an eye toward the future, the city has secured the property with cash to provide a special place for both us and future generations. Just think, a few years ago, we didn't even know what pickleball was. And by design, this park provides a spot for our interests and motivations and imaginations to grow. As a team, we've been listening to the community and experts and worked hard to design the campus to serve a diverse community with a wide range of interests and abilities. Nearly every city department has been instrumental in the planning of this campus, and I want to thank our leadership team and the community for their efforts. Clearly, our Parks Department has taken the lead in this, and as Parks is what they do best, to share the exciting details as they are taking shape. I'd like to introduce my friend and mentor, John Seibert, the Parks Director.
Well, good morning, and thanks, Mayor, for your vision and leadership in this project and many more. This is similar to the kind of evolution of a project that has given us Valparaiso, Central Park Plaza, and many other significant pieces of our community. In the campus timeline, or what we've done as we've projected this project, it's been very similar, where we started with our park master plan process several years ago in April of 21. It actually started before that during COVID year. But in that process, we engaged over 2,000 of our community's input of folks that were engaged with that process, 30 focus groups, and that continued on through the major strategic master plan. We engaged CSL in a market feasibility study. Then we went, and from that base of support, we launched Valpo for All Generations public announcement in February of 2022. From that positive response, we then went into the stakeholder meetings, engaging many folks that would be very interested in the specifics of the Sports and Recreation Campus. And I want to particularly point out the leadership of Don Clark, a member of our park board, and many others, such as Superintendent Jim and others that have been part of what has been really folks that are very interested in what the outcome of this will be. We also went into public input open houses, which we held for the Sports and Recreation Campus. We had over 100 people attend that meeting. And then, as the Mayor said, the property was purchased, and we'll talk about that specific in a moment. Then that led to the formation of a technical team that I'll talk about specifically in a moment as well, that created the schematic design process, which was completed on October 3rd, and that leads us to being before you today, and we're going to go over that schematic design in detail for you in just a moment. The team itself that we have put together is a collaboration of a variety of expertise in local, state, and national level folks that we think have been a great synergy of experts. There at the top, we have Abbenmarsh is a local engineering firm that we feel very good about. I've been involved in a whole variety of projects within our community. The lead on that has been Bill Oding, who is our team project leader. And you know Bill as a former city administrator and has been our team leader in this project. Browning Day from Indianapolis has been involved with these type of projects throughout the state and is a state leader in these types of projects, and you'll hear from Drew Bailey from Browning Day in a moment. The Sports Facilities Company is a national company that is a specialty in operations of these kind of facilities, and particularly in multi-use and duplexing of the kinds of fields that you'll see we'll be describing to you. We already talked about CSL. We're very happy to have Ton and Blank as our contractor, as contractor manager, as constructor, a new process where we can have the general contractor come in early for us as in the design process rather than waiting later. We had many really opportunities to have excellent CMCs be proposed to us, and we were happy to have Ton and Blank be the award-winning firm to be working with us, and we're happy to have them with us. Baker Tilly is our financial manager, and we talked about CSL already. The facility itself, 248 acres just east of St. Mary's on the northeast section of town, goes from 500 to the north all the way to 400 or Vale Park to the south. It's an extraordinary piece of property. The north section is primarily farmland, which will be where the activity area is, And to the south, the southern portion of the property is an extraordinary natural area that reminds me very much of Creekside. And it is the reflection of the moraine, and is a beautiful natural setting that we'll talk about, and the uses that, the combination of uses that, and what it can provide for our community are extraordinary. The mission for this place that we have then come to identify are this: to develop a high-quality sports and recreation campus where everyone, regardless of age, skill, and ability or interest, can enjoy and be part of this facility. It's an extraordinary place, and to tell you now the details, which is what you're here for, is Drew Braley from from Browning Day.
Thanks, John. Yes, I'm much better at design, not so much the dollars. I'll let others handle that. So yeah, thanks for having us this morning and this panel. I'm excited to show more about this project. It's been a labor of love of ours and our teams for many months now, and a lot of hard work has gone in from a variety of people, as has been mentioned already. So if we step back to kind of the initial master planning and kind of the goal setting that we had, was really to develop a high-quality community sports and rec campus, but also accentuating the natural features and characteristics of the property, like John mentioned. The southern half of that property is especially beautiful, and we walked it 12 or 16 months ago, and just kind of visioning what that could be was really exciting. And so some of the features we're going to talk about in a little bit more detail here include community space for everyone to enjoy, whether you're coming for sports or you're coming for a community event. The biggest thing about this is that it's not only for sports. It's sports and recreation, enjoyment of nature, family, memory making, all of those good things. So it does include multi-purpose athletic fields, pickleball courts, and then again the nature park and trails. And we have 3 distinct playgrounds identified that include restroom facilities and also sort of connect each part of the park through a series of trails. So if we move on to our next overall design slide here. So this represents kind of the overall concept master plan or schematic design master plan that is currently in the hands of our construction manager to run some numbers on for us. But it's consolidated really largely, as John said, to the northern half of the property for the sports and recreation fields specifically. And we have distributed parking lots to help with kind of not having one big sea of parking for 10 fields where you have to park 3 miles away in order to get to your location. It also involves the extension of Memorial Parkway to the south, so the addition of a roundabout at St. Mary's and the entrance to the park, and then an extension of that road to all the way south to 400. That project is being designed and bid and constructed under separate contract, but is integral to the success and kind of the layout of this park. And then we do have an east-west connector road that gets you to and from the park space, the parking lots, and the fields. Couple of things you'll see on here is some of the blue areas really highlight where we're handling stormwater and trying to do it as more of an amenity and a feature on the site. There is an existing pond that was built as part of the St. Mary's or Valparaiso Health Center project a handful of years ago, so we're looking to enhance that, upgrade that, and really kind of create a larger overall stormwater detention facility and turn that into a signature amenity in that southeastern portion of the site. And then we do have a lot of woodland areas that are being preserved as a part of this project. That was important as we looked at the property and the facilities that were there, and keeping that as really the backdrop in a lot of the views as you'll be utilizing these park spaces. And then we do have a combination of both open lawn, so grass, natural grass areas, as well as prairies, wildflower plantings, native plantings, all throughout. To really, again, kind of re-emphasize that it's sports, recreation, and nature kind of all in one. So if we zoom in here on the next slide, we've got kind of three focal areas that we've talked about already. So the North Plex, as we're calling it, will be a mix of, will be multi-purpose fields that have an overlay. And I think Kevin's going to speak a little bit more to those and the programming that will happen there. But it's currently laid out as 4 multi-purpose fields that can accommodate baseball, softball, soccer, and many others, with a centralized restroom and concession building, a dedicated maintenance building, ticketing locations, dugouts, all the things that you would need in a complex like this. And these fields will be artificial turf as well to allow for longer play into the seasons, as well as lit at night to allow for evening play, to extend the viability of this space. So then in the middle, we've got the community plaza and Southplex. So you can see a little bit, there was mention of pickleball, so we've got a dedicated area for pickleball courts with 10 courts shown there. And then as you move south in that area, we've got a large community plaza building and a beverage station, an open air pavilion for outdoor seating and activities. And the goal with that space, as well as the hardscape and artificial lawn space that isn't an actual field, is that can really be the hub of activity, and a lot of community events can be held there, again, whether or not you're coming for a sports event or just coming for a movie night in the park or some other community gatherings. And then to the very south, we have 3 additional fields that are more geared towards soccer and football and those types of activities, but do have the ability to serve as softball fields as well. And then the easternmost field will be dedicated as more of a championship sort of setup for tournament play. And then the last slide here, last image here, is that the southernmost part of the property, which is looking at enhancing the existing wetlands that are there to the south, improving the drainage through there as it comes from the west and makes its way to the property, and also serving really as a hub of activity for the cross-country uses, with a pavilion with restrooms and place for activity and people to gather, as well as, again, a large inclusive playground, and then really sort of being the spot you would come if you want to really get on a lot of the trails that we'll have in and throughout the property. And so then with the athletic field overlays, again, sort of mentioned this here, you can see a few examples of fields that are either set up traditionally for baseball or softball, but also have the striping that'll allow for the use of soccer or football or lacrosse or ultimate frisbee. I mean, you name it. I think these facilities have great possibilities for accommodating a lot of different uses, and especially with the artificial turf as the material being there, you don't have as much worry about wear and tear as you would on a natural grass playing surface. So with that, I will switch over to Kevin.
Thank you, Drew. So the next 3 slides, I'll go into a little bit more detail on how we intend to bring this space to life. So we've aligned ourselves with the design team, but through a park programming perspective, how do we bring these areas to life? And so as Drew mentioned, the overlay is a concept that's new to us, but certainly not new on the national level. And what it does, it provides the ability to be a lot more flexible. So there are 7 turf placeholders on this property itself, and I'll go through in detail kind of how we intend to program those. So of those 7 artificial turf and lit fields, those 7 fields could turn into 13 youth baseball fields based off of different configurations. And when I say youth baseball, I mean 13 and under. So there's, with the ability to have removable fencing, portable mounds, you can create a lot of different configurations with those. As well as that same configuration can host fast pitch softball from youth all the way up to college and beyond. So it allows us a lot more breadth of opportunity in terms of the number of fields. Of those 7 fields, also the ability to have 4 full baseball fields, so high school, college, and even professional, with 400-foot fences. Those same footprints with removable fences can be brought into 300-foot, which allows us to do adult softball on those fields as well. The 7 footprints, as Drew mentioned, are all rectangle fields, so they're striped for soccer, lacrosse, ultimate frisbee, flag football, regular football, things of that nature. So it allows as mentioned, a lot of flexibility to be used there. The turf itself creates opportunities for challenger leagues, those with disabilities, similar to how we've taken advantage of that at Samardzija Field. Lastly, one of those 7 footprints is proposed a stadium. So additional amenities, the opportunity to host larger events, potentially host college games, things that would require additional seating, higher amenities, things of that nature, and also special events. So as we looked at each of these different areas, we wanted to make sure that there was a community benefit and outcome as associated with it. So obviously with this facility, with turf, with lights, there's an enhanced quality of the sports facilities from what we currently have in our inventory. It allows each space to be extremely flexible with the overlay system, which was important to us as we look at bringing as many people to this area. The cluster of fields is key to being able to host tournaments, efficiencies with our own programming. Not now do you have to go across town to play different sports. You have it all in one centralized location. As well as for our programming, as well as others, to get creative. You have now additional space to have additional programming opportunities. And then lastly, this really is for the entire campus itself, but an improved community pride with this. People will be proud of the campus, of what it has to offer and what it stands for. So that's the Northplex and the Southplex, primarily your athletic fields. The next slide goes into more detail on the community plaza. And this is a key differentiator in this campus as opposed to other facilities because it can stand alone. It can be programmed if there's nothing else going on in the park, but obviously is the tie that connects the rest of the park together from a programming standpoint, as Drew mentioned. A space that has administrative offices, a medical area for those that might get injured while playing or need assistance, pickleball courts. We like the combination of the pickleball courts in this space to create synergy between the amenities that are offered and the recreation side of pickleball, but also those that are there to just use the plaza now can explore pickleball maybe for the first time in a more social setting. So there's a lot of synergy there. This entertainment concept is really growing with Topgolf and other opportunities like that. And we see this space coming together very similarly where you have the recreation side next to food, beverage, socialization, lounge areas, place for live music and entertainment, outdoor seating, and the like. So the benefit here is that it's year-round. Community will have access to it year-round. A lot of programmable space with the turf, with the pickleball courts, with the other lounge areas for activities, events, and private rentals. And then lastly, it creates an immense entertainment value to the whole facility itself. The last area we'll talk about is the southern portion of the property, the nature park and trails. 50-plus acres of natural land, as Drew mentioned, doing our best to accentuate all of what it has to offer. But trails, bridges, boardwalks over wetlands, restrooms and shelters for social gatherings, natural playgrounds and open space for kids to explore being outside. You don't oftentimes see this type of facility in a city parks system. So we're fortunate to have this type of property in order to bring those opportunities to life for the community itself. And it's not limited to just hiking, walking, snowshoeing, dog walking, right? You can really explore the different areas that it has to offer. And I think that's the hallmark of this property, or this project as a whole, is that it really is a variety of different things for people to take advantage of. The north side is very different than the south side, but ultimately connected by pathways and other means to be able to use it all. And so we're really excited about what it has to offer. And with that, I'm going to pass it over to George to talk about some of the unlocking opportunities that exist.
Thanks, Kevin. I appreciate it. Well, as you can kind of see, this is truly a transformative project, not only for Valparaiso, the community, but I think also for Northwest Indiana. You know, as the mayor talked about, what I would say, he referenced the direct and indirect economic impact from spending associated with this sports and recreational complex. I think what we quickly realize is this 248 acres is really going to be a catalyst that's going to really drive additional economic development on what I would say on the east side of 49 and on the west side of Memorial Drive. And when I talk about economic development in community benefits, I'm talking about growth in our assessed valuation and property taxes, growth in terms of new jobs and investment in that area. So it's really going to truly unlock, I think, the full potential of that area. And so I want to really talk about a couple of three things here real quick. One is connectivity. Drew talked about Memorial Drive. Yes, we'll have another roundabout out there. I mean, what else would you do, right? It makes perfect sense. But really, we'll take Memorial Drive and extend that down south. It will not be a raceway. Again, this is just beautiful terrain, a natural area. So you see sort of a nice, what I would say, meandering, if you will, drive down south. So that's going to go to 400 North or Vale Park Road. And so that's going to create this corridor all the way from Evans Avenue all the way up to 500 North. And tying in with the lakes of Valparaiso, and that will also create what I would say pathways that will go from Vale Park Road that we currently have getting to the other side of 49. Now that will be an entryway, so you'll have other modes of transportation to get into this beautiful natural park area that we're very excited about. Next is a sort of an East Campus master plan. And so again, as we realized on the east side of 49, that we have the opportunity to collaborate with our stakeholders out there. So we are working with St. Mary's, we're working with Patco, and with the leadership of the city as well as with Browning Day, we are creating a master plan for the development of that entire area. And again, we're not just looking to maximize it, we're looking to enhance the natural amenities that are out there, such as the woods and trails and some other stuff. And so there's a major NIPSCO transmission line that heads up on that side of 49, and so we know that's a sort of a restrictive area for development, but that can also be then some of the natural features of walkways and trails, as well as some drainage features that help with the development of that area. At the end of the day, we look at, there's about 79 acres of prime development anchored around St. Mary's that we're very excited about, that we think this master plan will sort of unlock. And lastly is infrastructure. And I say infrastructure, really talk about two things, natural resources that are out there. All of the northeast side of Valparaiso really drains down through this area, crosses underneath 49, and really crosses this property in the southern boundary. And so we want to enhance that. There's a floodplain back there. And so this is an opportunity for us to work with the county in a regulated drain through there to how we build what I would say almost a regional detention area for water and make that a natural feature not only of the park, but also for the development in that area. And lastly, I don't think Steve Poulos is here, but our utilities. We also recognize in the 248 acres that we have the opportunity to look at replacement of some of our water wells as they look to end their natural life, if you will. And so we've got three areas we're identifying on the utilizing the park area, if you will, for potential for new well location, which is benefiting everybody in the community. All right, so next, so as Drew talked about the labor of love, now we're really getting down to the labor and the construction side. We're very excited to be partnering with Ton and Blank on the CMC side of this, and this project is coming to life very soon. And so we have a very aggressive timeline that we'll be looking to as we finish up the schematic designs. Ton and Blank right now is working on pricing, so let's everybody keep their fingers crossed that the market is very receptive and we can bring this in on budget without any changes to the design that we have. But we're looking at beginning that process in January or February in terms of bidding and construction starting this spring. And all of that to fast forward to say we're looking at summer of 2024 to be opening up the pickleball courts and all the other activities out there. So again, this is a major 248, it's primarily an earthwork site. There's not a lot of vertical development there, so it's going to be very exciting to see that come to fruition here in the next couple months. I mean, in terms of getting started on the bidding side. Lastly, is the mayor talked about, yes, this is probably very difficult to read. This is not intentional. We're very happy to share. This is a $30 million project, and again, this is coming from a variety of sources. As the city has always done, is leverage everybody else's money first. So we are working in terms of our ARPA dollars to reimburse the Redevelopment Commission for the purchase of the land, that allow the Redevelopment Commission to then pump that cash back into the project. In addition, we are working on a READY grant with the Indiana Economic Development Corporation for $4.7 million, and so we're in the final stages of that, and hopefully those dollars will start flowing at the beginning of the year. In addition to that, we're also looking at two different bonding mechanisms through the Redevelopment Commission and the Redevelopment Authority, and then also the city looking at general obligation bonds. Memorial Drive is a separate project in terms of separate funding and everything else. That will kick off. We're in the design phases of that now, and again, we will look for that to start construction beginning of next year and hopefully wrap up near the end of next year, and that's about a $6 million project to do that. I think the key takeaways, without getting into the weeds here, first of all, we're leveraging all of our dollars that we can from outside the community with federal and state dollars. And again, we're going to preserve our AA bond rating from S&P, which is very important. And we're not touching our rainy day fund, and we're not increasing, if you will, our bonding debt limit. All of that to bring this sort of transformative project is really remarkable, not only for the 248 acres, but I think the economic development piece that you're going to see along the 49 corridor, that this is also going to transform that area. So I will end all of this to say this is not the end. We do have some additional input sessions and information sessions coming up, the first being tonight from 6 to 7:30. So I know it's difficult to see the boards, but also we'll have 9 or 10 boards and very interactive with representatives from the parks and myself and other city officials there to help answer any questions you might have. And that'll be tonight, 6 to 7:30. That will take place at City Hall. In addition, we'll have at the next Redevelopment Commission meeting, which will be next Thursday at 4:10 p.m. I won't explain why we start at 4:10, but that'll be next Thursday, 4:10 p.m. here at City Hall. And lastly, City Council meeting coming up on October 24th. We'll do a similar presentation. That's at 6 p.m. And last but not least, October 25th it's a Tuesday, will be the Park Board meeting that starts at 6 o'clock. And again, we'll kind of go through a very similar presentation and be available to answer any questions. With that, certainly, I really appreciate you being here and hearing about this very exciting project. And I think we will certainly entertain questions. Rex?
Thanks, George. Rex says we have time for 3 questions. Anyone with 3, not 4, not 2. Yeah.
This is a George question. George, what do you envision, or what is envision taking place in the property between the new park and 49 bypass?
So what is taking place between the park project and the 49 bypass in terms of the master plan that we're creating? Is that your question?
Yeah.
Well, I think we're still working with our stakeholders out there, which is Patco and with St. Mary's, to see what kind of development that we would envision out there that will be complementary, first of all, to the park, but also not take away from the economic corridors such as the downtown that we already have, right? And so I think as Eastport is filling up in terms of lots that are available out there, this creates a wonderful opportunity to create more, what I would say, business and professional types of development that would complement, again, the anchors that we have out there. But we're still working through that plan. And so that's information that will be coming, more details of that as it develops. But that's a great question.
Yes. Have you guys been able to provide a cash flow from emphasis to profitability or to some state of normalcy as it relates to what the cash flow will be?
Yeah, we started off with the foundation from CSL, and they gave us, but it wasn't exactly the same scope, so we're working with the sports facilities company, and I think that's supposed to be with us within 2 weeks. We have some preliminary numbers from them, but we feel very confident in the numbers we're going to have, but we'll have it very specific, Robert, from them within 2 weeks.
Thank you.
Anyone else? All right. Well, thank you very much, everyone. Appreciate it.